Hello, I'm Cammy G, and welcome back to our AFK Endurance builds. We are now in Plankerton, working on Amplifier B, so this is the East Amplifier, just to the east of the home base, and we have two spawns for this, so one at the east and one at the north. So we're going to work on the east first, and then we'll do the north, and yeah, let's go ahead and show the spawns for that then. So the spawns are all around this back area down here. You can get some at this bottom area, some at the top, and over this area like this. So there's a few flanking routes, as with the rest of Plankerton. You know, we've got these sort of ramps here. They can also get to the amplifier up this ramp here, so we're going to block this one off and just make them come up this main route. And then up here, there's some sideways they could go, you know, climb all the way up here. And they could climb up to here, and you know, this would be a good spot for them to fling, so we'll have to block that off. But as I said, the main tunnel is going to be across here, so we'll bring them through here, and as we do that, we can use wall launchers on here to send them flying down into this area, and then they have to walk all the way back up. As I say, we're going to block this ramp to ensure they can't get to the amplifier this way, so I'm just going to add as much blockage as we can for that. You might also want to just block the top of the ramp to really stop them from being able to get up like this, and then we'll just get the grid method, the usual method. I appreciate this is close to the amplifier, but we would be building around it anyway, so don't worry about that. So we block that. Then over here, when we get to this point, we will add a wall launcher here. So behind that, we're going to just need a little bit of reinforcement, like so. And like that. So we'll bring them here. And then from here, we'll just take them forwards towards the amplifier. And then we can put a wall here if we want. Smashers might end up charging this wall. So do be careful with that. But at least if we have that there, we can put a wall launcher on here. An alternative is, if you want, you can get rid of the structure behind that, have the wall there, and then have a ramp behind it, like so, and then have them come to the amplifier like this, which might be more beneficial. Just see what works best for you. As they come through this area, what we can do is this with low walls for a bit of extra damage. Probably don't need that one, actually. As I say, though, you might get smashers trying to charge this point, but we will have tar pit traps on the floor, which will stop them in their tracks anyway. But if you do see pressure from them, obviously you have to change it up to the previous design where we block behind it and just have them go forward here. But we can leave it like this. Now, one other thing you could do here is if you make this a low wall, you can put wall darts at the back. What you can also do here is add a floor behind like that. This will act as an extra layer to stop them from wanting to break through there, get straight to the amplifier. Sadly, you can't do that behind this wall because, you know, they need to walk here. So it's a bit limited in what you could do. But yeah, at this side, we can do the same sort of thing. So have the walls, the wall darts, and then low walls. And then what we'll do is we'll just block this off because we don't want enemies to be wandering around this area, such as flingers, lobbers, that type of thing. And then if you really want, you can have a wall here. But it's not totally necessary because at this point, they should really be dead. So yeah, it's up to you if you want to put that or not. If you did, I'd probably recommend having this one as a full wall to have broadsides on. So that's up to you. Right, so for this up here, we're going to block this fully to really stop the enemies from wanting to come up here. So by that I mean floors at the top and then over the top like this. You can cover the whole thing if you want, it's not super important. What you can do behind these if you want though is, you know, ramps like this with this behind. Probably not necessary to have this wall, but we'll just leave it in anyway. And then on the ones towards the edge of the ramp. You can put cones on top, but it's probably not necessary, to be honest, and you probably don't need the outside ones. You can probably do with just these covering the top of the ramp. Another flank over here, so look, we'll just cover the flanks now, I guess. Might as well. Up there, and then just a block here as well to really stop them from wanting to come up here, because obviously from up here they'd be able to target the amplifier, flingers and lobbers and the such. So we need to make sure we block that, and probably block this one as well, just to be on the safe side. You probably won't need as much on that one though, because it is quite out of the way. And then there is a similar ramp over here. So for this, we will do this. This looks very similar to the ramp we covered for A. Pretty sure they just copy and pasted the design for that. So we'll just cover those to ensure that enemies cannot flank around. So from further testing, these block-offs here, I believe, break from spawns. So what I mean by that is the tendrils that land on the ground. I think a spawn gets really close to it, and the walls broke, and then enemies wanted to come up here. I actually had some lobbers, like standing here and down there, aiming at it, which is so strange. But the lobbers wanted to come up here, and then once they were here, they would target the ceiling traps and the objective. So all we need to do is just add extra protection behind this by doing this, aiming all these cones towards the corner they would come out of, and then we can just add extra walls behind these as well. And then, interestingly enough, when they did break through, regular enemies would actually just come here and then drop into the trap tunnels instead of just, walking all the way over here to the objective, which is very strange. But what we can do is just add even more here, like so, and probably stop there. You could add walls here if you wanted. I don't think it will add much to the, protection for stopping them wanting to come through. What you can do, though, is add this, and then do that there. Didn't mean to add the top one. But yeah, we can add these walls in as well, just to be on the safe side. But yeah, look, I mean, we've got so much blocking this off now. There should be a full wall there as well, my bad. But yeah, now they won't want to get through. I mean, you can add even more behind this if you really want to, but I think that should be plenty of deterrence. And then if we go back over here, now we realize we can't have healing for the walls on these. But what we can do is just put a ceiling electric field underneath this. This will deal with anything that comes around this area. I mean, we already have these up here, but sadly this one won't zap underneath here. But yeah, if any enemies go underneath, they're going to get hit by this ceiling electric field. You can even go as far as to put a wall there. It might get destroyed by the spawn though. But yeah, this will do enough damage. And then what you can do if you want is put some healing wall spikes on these two walls as well. Now, none of them tried to get through this bit, so that's fine. And we can go ahead with that. So there is another flank to cover around here. So by all these block offs, they can actually come round, and if they come up this ramp here, which we'll just block off. Just do that. You don't need too much, but basically they'd be able to just walk over here to the amplifier. Now there is this over here, if they're able to come across this bit. So this kind of doubles up as the other side block offs. But we can build for it now. So effectively all we're going to do is just block like that. Stop anything from getting in there. We can put a wall there as well. You can put some traps around here, but I can cover that with the traps. Right, now over here, you might want to do the same sort of thing. So it's quite out of the way, but what you can do is block this, like so. And then this ramp. Trying to block this at the bottom comes close to the spawns and might end up getting it destroyed. So what we can do instead is just do that. And then if we just continue these walls across, that'll stop enemies from being able to get round. Yeah. You can even go as far as to put walls behind these. We just basically don't want any enemies to be able to go round the trap tunnels we're building, because if they do, they will be able to aim at the amplifier. Now, it's not as much of an issue in Plankerton as it is in the other areas, but, you know, it's not a non-issue, so we need to stop them from being able to do that. Otherwise, we'd need loads of anti-air traps, as opposed to just having a few, so we obviously don't want that. Now, for this bit, what we can do is, if we add thin wall here, because we'll have a wall launcher here. You can do it in this area as well, but it's probably not as necessary. But what we can do is have it here, like this. You probably don't need it on too many of them, because say they get knocked here, down to here, they'll probably end up walking through this bit. So there's not really much need to add them here, because they won't really be walking up, you know, this bit. So we'll just leave it as those. In fact, you probably can get rid of that one, to be honest, if you really want to. Now, what you can do is continue these across and have wall darts on them. The only thing is, these walls are launching the enemies out to here, obviously. And if we have those, they're not going to go as far out. But there is a positive to it. So by stopping the enemies from flying too far out, what we can do is build this like that, and this basically contains the enemies in this area. This will just have wall darts on, which will affect stuff as it walks back up this ramp here. We will have ceiling drop traps above. Over here, you can block this area like so, and then probably there as well. The reason for this is the enemies that spawn, you know, over here, instead of being able to just walk all the way over here and skip most of the traps, they will instead have to walk up this ramp over here and then go through the trap tunnel. This bit's a bit sketch, so you can either just do that, stop them from coming up it, or just allow them to. But this way, they have to come up the longer way up here. And if we put a floor here, they have to come up here. So with this area here, what we can do is use this as a little bit of extra damage, like so. These can be walls. Any further back, and again, you run into sort of spawn area, so the walls might get destroyed. You can go and play ahead and place some though. And, you know, if it gets destroyed, it gets destroyed. But yeah, that's the main part of that. So you probably want a wall there, and to be honest, you could put a wall there if you want, but what we're going to do is put a wall launcher here, which will send them out into there. So that's the reason I'm not going to put a wall there. It wouldn't hurt to put one there though. You can have wall darts shooting through the tunnel, and on this one we'll do a wall launcher as well. So now all that's left to build really is the ceiling for this. We can build round the amplifier as well, so what I'll do is just build like this. We'll pretty much leave this side of it open for now, because we'll be dealing with it when we get to that side. But I'll just place this one so that I can place this on top like that. So we're just going to do the same sort of thing we did at the other amplifier. So do this like that, and then we'll put floor spikes on these, anti-air trap on the top, and yeah, we're generally just allowing the enemies to walk into the amplifier because they will get killed by the trap tunnels anyway. So for the ceiling, it doesn't really matter where you build up for it for here, but we're going to build it 2 blocks up. Which means that the entire ceiling will affect the spawns and the trap tunnels. So as I say, you can, you know, just carry it out from here, or if you want to build a wall like that and then start from there, it's completely up to you how you want to go about it, but just make sure you place the ceilings where I'm placing them. So effectively, the rule of thumb is build it over the entire trap tunnel and then to the side of it as well. What you can do for this bit if you want is add extra reinforcement, but I don't think enemies will try break out here, so there's probably not much need for that. Right, let's carry on this ceiling then. So the ceiling's going to go across this entire courtyard area, so what we'll do is this. And then as we come to the trap tunnels, again, they're going to be walking here, so these will be tar pit trap, and then to the side of it we can do ceiling electric field. So this can be ceiling electric field here, and then you can even build it here, but I would avoid it just because if we build a floor there, it incentivizes enemies more to come up here and walk across straight to the amplifier, so I'm going to avoid connecting that, and we'll just continue this ceiling here like this. This point, it's very far out, and you don't have to do the entire thing. If you are low on structures, if you have very good damage and stuff, which I do, to be honest, but I'm just placing everything just to show how the build would look, for the very top level. So I'm just going to build pretty much everywhere here. But as I said, this is like really over the top, and you don't need to. And we may have to strip back at the end like we did in Twine, but, we'll deal with that when we get to it. So, you can go another one if you want. Here. Another layer of traps. Again, this is very, very overkill. But we are building an AFK Endurance, so why the hell not? I'm just going to connect this here as well. I don't feel comfortable having it connected to one place. I don't know, it really bugs me doing that. I feel like it's going to just destroy itself or something, so I like to connect it in a few places. You could do it anywhere, really. You could have these walls here connect up. But we have it connected in 2 places now, so it should be good. But yeah, that should be all the structures you need. Can't think of any other flanks because we've covered pretty much everything they could possibly do. And we have an entire massive roof over the whole thing. So we can go ahead and level this stuff up. The ceiling is less important. You could build it out of brick probably in this case, if you really want. But I'm going to be leveling up to tier 3 metal because I have a mat grinder that gives me loads of materials. If you don't have that, just feel free to watch the video for that. It'll be in the description. But yeah, I'll get onto the traps and the perks, and then we can go ahead and place them down. Cheers. Thank you so much for watching to this point. If you are enjoying the video, please do let me know in the comments. But also, I am on the Supporter Creator Program, so if you could please use my code CAMIG, and be sure to subscribe as well to get all future videos. Thank you so much. The anti-air trap 1 range on there for durability. Ceiling drop trap, so we're going for a crit build on this one as well. Ceiling electric field, we're going for a crit build once again, you know it. Floor freeze trap, so for this one we've got 2 impact and knockback. Floor launcher, so for whacking all the impact and knockback on there. Tar pit trap, so for this one I like to go for full durability. Wall darts, another crit build, another all-rounder build. The wall dynamo trap, so for this one I've gone for energy. Wall launcher, so for this one we've got 3 impact and knockback. Wall lights, so another 3 impact, 2 reload speed. Wall spikes here, we've gone for crit build, so 2 crit rating, 2 crit damage. Wooden floor spikes, so crit build on this one, that's pretty much. Alright, now that you've got that stuff upgraded, we can place the traps. So on top of the amplifier, we're going to do the same sort of thing as the other one. So anti-air trap on top, and then you can place, a few just there, just in case flingers do manage to escape somehow, somewhere. We have something blocking them, and then we can just put some wooden floor spikes on the edges. In case they did manage to get any enemies here, they would die attacking these, so that would be fine. Now at the amplifier, we're going to have tar pit traps, if I can get my 106 ones, for pretty much this entire bit leading up to it. We'll have a tar pit trap on this last. Actually, we'll stick to wooden floor spikes throughout this entire bit around here. Again, making sure you leave this bit open. I mean, they could come up this bit, I suppose, if you want to make this a floor, but I'm going to leave it open as it is. On most of these ramps where we've covered, to stop enemies from flanking, you can put healing wall spikes. You probably don't need to do it on all of them, so maybe just the very first ones, like that one. You definitely don't need to go to the back ones. We have covered, this pretty much this entire flanking route anyway. And then on this side, again, you can put wall spikes on these if you want. Maybe this one, and then on these end too. But other than that, all we need to do really is for these, we can just put some ceiling electric fields underneath. That will zap anything that goes close, and then we have this entire ceiling that we can place traps on as well. You can place traps on these walls if you want. It's probably not too necessary because we have the ceiling traps. So on this side, at least, I'm going to avoid it. I am going to put a ceiling electric field under there, though. And then for up here, I will put the launchers. So 106, I'm going to do the full durability ones on these. And on these as well. On this last one, you could probably go for a non-durability one. But I'm going to leave it as durability for now. Then on this one, I'm going to go for the more rounded build with more impact and more reload speed on those two. While we're here, I guess we can place any traps in this area. Probably won't need these because, as I say, it's Plankerton and it's really not too difficult for the endurance here, but we can go ahead and place them anyway. And you can feel free to strip back if you want, if your perks are super duper and all that good stuff. So as I said, you can place a wall darts at the back there. It will shoot through this ramp, so it acts as a blocker, and you can also damage through it, which is nice. From here we can do wall darts. We've got those going. This one can be a broadsides, so I'll get my 106 broadsides there. This one can be wall darts. And then wall darts at the back of these. As I say, for this courtyard area, you could put wall spikes on these. I'd probably just go for this one, because this is the one with the ramp leading up to the amplifier. The rest are going to get affected by the ceiling traps anyway. One note I did get rid of. I think we had a ceiling here. I just got rid of it so they couldn't hop onto it from there, because that might make them want to leave out there more. On these walls, we'll do wall darts to do more damage as they get to the top of the ramp. Do it on that one as well, and as I say, you can do them on these. Probably would more recommend down here. The reason being is over here is where they spawn, so doing it immediately, they just go. The durability goes so quickly. Whereas on this side, this is just for the enemies that make it to this point and then get pushed down. So these wall darts will last a lot longer, so we can go ahead and do those. I'm going to leave it off those two though, because they're not really going to affect much should we add anything on them. Over here, we can get wall darts going for these. Wall dynamos on these low walls. And then, don't really need anything on there. Probably just like the sound trap for propanes, I would have thought. That should affect pretty much everything that comes through. In fact, you can put it on this side of it as well if you want, or maybe on this one actually. We'll put it here. And that should be good. So everything that comes through propane-wise should drop there. Propanes. All good stuff. Now that's all that's left is the ceiling traps. So I'll start from the other end of the trap tunnel. So the enemies will be walking from here, so I'm going to do is get my drop traps equipped. I'm going to face this way to knock them back down, this ramp, and then we'll just do that pretty much the entire way. Over here we'll do that. On this one, I want to knock them back this way. From here I want to knock them back. On these ones we will do that. And then on this last one I'm going to place it that way as well as that one. Then as we go through this last bit, we're just going to place it facing the direction the husks would be. And then finally there. Now over the spawn, on this bit down here, you're definitely going to need ceiling drop traps. The direction doesn't matter too much down here. But I'm just generally going to place it facing towards the trap tunnels to push them back out effectively. Like so. That one's not going to affect in, so no need to place it on that. What we can do for this one or these two even, is we can place ceiling electric fields, which will zap into enemies stood here as they come past. And then similarly on these sides, we can get ceiling electric fields zapping into enemies as they come through the tunnels. Like that. Even all the way up here. And then these back ones, I think I'll do ceiling electric field. All across these, even in that one. Now over here, it's a bit less important having the ceiling traps. For these ones, I will place, if I can get them, the tire drop traps facing this way, just to stop enemies from wanting to go through. This one here can be an electric field. And then put a drop trap on this one. But yeah, all these ones here, probably want to go for drop traps. The direction you face doesn't entirely matter, to be honest, in this, at this point, because it's generally just going to kill stuff that spawns, so it really doesn't matter too much. I'm just going to face the amplifier as I place them, pretty much, so that they do get staggered away from it as they drop. If you do need structures back, obviously you can get rid of some of these. This is very over the top. So, if you do need to get some back, definitely just strip some of those back. But as far as traps goes, that's it. That's all you need. Well, I say all you need, it was a lot, but that's what you need. And yeah, please do like, comment, and subscribe if you found it useful. Obviously, feel free to come back for... Wow, that is... Right. Hello, I'm Kami G, and welcome back to our AFK Endurance videos for Plankerton. So we're again on Amplifier B here, which is the East Amplifier. We've done the East direction, but now we're going to be building for the North. So there's no amplifier that stops this spawn from ever spawning. It is a constant if you have this amplifier placed down, which I think everybody does. So you'll definitely need this. So the spawn for this is on this area here. They can spawn in this watery bit down here as well, and at the back there. So we'll cover this entire thing with traps. They can, I think, spawn up there as well, on the top of that ridge, which is a little bit annoying. And there's obviously back routes they can take back there. So what we're going to do is bring them across here, and then we can knock them down there with wall launchers in this area. Over here we can use wall launchers as well. I want to avoid doing it here, as I don't want to fling them into our block-offs for their home base, because that's just not going to be good. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll bring them across here. At this point we'll block this and bring them to the side through here. On this bit we will just broadside them to, Kingdom Come. On this bit, if you want, you can wall launcher them out to there, but it's probably best not to, because again, it's sort of our block off area, and it's going to give them a free rein on flinging to this if we do that. And then at the top, it's up to you how you want to go about this. You might have risk of smashers wanting to charge when they see this, so you can get rid of this wall and just place it at the side. What I'm going to do is just leave it open though. We can close that wall, and basically we can get rid of that roof actually, because we'll place the roofs after. But yeah, as I say, you can get rid of this if you want. I don't know why I'm teabagging. But if you see issues with smashers, but we'll have tar pits on the floor to stop these smashers charging anyway, so it shouldn't be an issue. We need walls here for wall launchers, same there. Up here, we're going to put a wall there just to make sure that if stuff does get flung from here with a wall launcher, it doesn't get sent out into this area. You can extend this out, just to avoid that if you really want. You shouldn't need it though, but I'm going to add it just so that if stuff does land sort of here, it doesn't try walk, over there. Now, once stuff gets flung out here, obviously if it's a flinger or a lobber, it can probably aim at the amplifier from here. So what you can do is you can add a ceiling over this if you want. But bearing in mind this is joint spawn with the home base, so they spawn, you know, up around this area. So if you place traps, they're going to probably go pretty quickly. Now, what you can do instead is just build a lobber shield with no traps, or just place anti-air traps. Either way works. What you can do with the ceiling here is have this from here and just cover, you know, this sort of area. About here should be far enough, and here should be far enough. Now anything stood here can't get an angle at the amplifier. If you do see them aiming from here, for example, just extend this ceiling out a bit. We don't need traps on these. You can put them on if you want, but they'll probably get used up fairly quickly with the home base, as I say, so not really necessary. The main thing, as I say, is them coming back up this ramp here, which we can add ceilings over. So I'm just going to start the ceilings for these up here, right here, and go along with this. So covering this entire thing. Now, obviously, having these allows the enemies to walk over the trap tunnels if they were to get up here. But we have blocked this with the other direction, just showing that, just in case you haven't seen that. We've blocked all this here. And even if we didn't have this, like, you know, the enemies could come here. But what you can do if you're paranoid is just block this area, you know, just like this. Stops them from being able to do anything. Maybe that one as well, just to cover that little gap in case the AI is able to figure out that it can go in there. But yeah, these ceilings we're going to carry on over this entire area. All the way to the edge, might as well cover this entire thing. Like so. And then make sure you're covering this area, because this is where they will be coming back up that ramp. So, like that. Now, as I say, I think there is a spawn there, so I would avoid going too close to it. What you can do is add some walls here. You want like that, and that, and do this. Don't need to go too far, because I'm pretty sure it's just right on the edge here. You can occasionally get the tendril spawn. These guys might try drop down here, you know, and go wherever, but where they're going to go, either through the home base trap tunnels or back up through our normal ones. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. While we're here, though, we can block this just to stop anything from coming through here. Again, it's not super important, because where are they going to go? There's not really much they can do, apart from maybe coming up here. So if we just probably from here. Oops, didn't mean to place the top ones. Like that. But you probably don't need the tops for this. This is really out of the way for the enemies. And then you could do even more if you want, but honestly, you shouldn't need too much. We're just stopping the enemies from being able to get on top of the trap tunnels, basically. But that should be plenty of enough block off for that. So yeah, they can spawn in here and around this back bit, so it would be nice to have ceilings cover this. So you can actually extend this. Because this ceiling is 3 blocks up, any traps you put on it, you know, the tire drop traps will affect the spawn, so we can still do that, which is nice. Put a wall there for more wall darts if you want. But as far as the ceilings go, that should be enough. I think you potentially can, on the very rare occasion, get some spawns up here. So what you could do for that is just, you know, extend this one, get some ceiling electric field or something, but we just want to block this side here, like this. And then, like so. That stops any enemies that do spawn up here. They'll get affected by these traps, and then they'll drop down here anyway and go through the normal trap tunnels. So we've got that stuff set up. You can get a wall here for some more damage, even a floor there. I think at this point it would get destroyed by the spawn. This one may as well, but we can place it just to see. And what you can do is you can just add a bit down here for more damage should you want to. As I say, you can block more stuff around here if you need to, but we've got enough stuff to stop them from being able to fling, so I wouldn't be worried about that. The only thing you might want to do is put a ceiling there, just to cover it a bit more, and maybe there. But with all that stuff placed, we should be good. What you can do is, as we've done with the other ones, is place thin walls like this to make the enemies walk closer to the edge. I'd avoid putting one here just because if enemies get pushed by the launcher while they're here, they'll hit the wall. But you can do it if you want. It's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. And if you need the structures back, you can get rid of these. They're not overly important. It's nice to have them, but you know, it's not game changing. It's not break or make or break, whichever way that's said. But yeah, that should be enough structures for that, I believe. Just need some stuff at the top here, so we'll just continue the ceiling at this height for here, and do gas traps for any smashers and such that might make it to this point. But you know, you shouldn't really be too worried about this area. You can extend this if you want. That's up to you. I'll leave that to you to decide. But yeah, I'll go ahead and level this stuff up, and then I can show you the traps, perks, and where to place them. So I'll see you shortly. Alright, now that you got that stuff placed down and leveled up, we can go ahead and place the trappy poos. That was cringe. So at the end, as before on all the other ones, we're going to place tar pit traps. Stop those smashers from charging. Going to get those going throughout pretty much most of this. On here, we'll start doing floor spikes, hoping that they'll last a bit longer, durability-wise. For these first walls, we'll do full durability wall launchers. This one included, this one. So basically all of them, I guess. And then towards the end on these ones, we will do the ones that have more impact and more reload speed, just in case the smashers do make it here. We'll do, if I can get them, broadsides there, on this ramp at either side as well. We can do it on the sides, but it's not going to let us, because it's inside the ground. So I'll just quickly do that. Throughout this bit, we're going to do broadsides either side, because it is just the best damage you can do. On this back one, we will do wall darts. There. These are all set up. Down here, we can do wall darts on these two. Beautiful stuff. Just going to level that up in the meantime. We do want some sound traps, so what I'm going to do is put one here. This will help with the exploders. Just thinking what you can do at the top here to stop the enemies from just sort of like walking up and doing that. I mean, it's not the worst thing if they do that, but what you could do is just have like that if you want. I'm probably going to leave it without, but just I wanted to show you guys what you could do should you want to. Just in case that one sound trap isn't enough, you could add another one, say here. There's a few other places you could put them. You might have to sacrifice one of the launchers, like for example this one here. You could just replace that with a sound trap as well. But if this contains the exploders enough on its own, then you're obviously good to go. Just level up this one thing before I forget about it. We can start with some of the ceiling traps back here. So at the amplifier itself, we're going to have gas traps, and then on this staircase we'll do tire drop trap. On this whole thing we'll do tire drop trap. On these I'm going to slow the enemies down by pushing them back. So I'm just facing the direction they would be facing. On this one I'm going to place it this way so that it knocks the enemies off the floors we have here. What you can do on these two is place them that way. You can even do it on that one. Reason being is if anything does land here, for example, these will then knock it off, which is, you know, what we want. On this ceiling here specifically, and you can add one there as well if you want, if I can stand in the right place. You can add one there if you want, and at the other side, but we're just going to put a ceiling electric field here, which will zap into the trap tunnels. You could do it there as well, but I'm going to go for tire drop traps there. And on this area here, we'll do tire drop traps as well. I'm probably going to need to craft some more. Again, just facing the amplifier. These, again, will act for the home base as well. It's mainly a lobber shield, so I'm going to avoid placing it on these first. We'll just place them. Who cares? But yeah, if you notice anything flinging from here, just extend this ceiling, obviously, further, and that will deal with that. For this ceiling here, we will do electric field. And then for these coming up the ramp, we're going to do tire drop traps to knock them further down to make it slower for them to get back up. Same there. And then across the entire spawn, we're just going to put tire drop traps. So I'm going to have to craft some more. I don't have enough. So we'll do that. You can put wooden wall spikes with healing on this. And now that we have our tire drop traps back, go ahead and place these. It doesn't matter too much the direction of these, but these ones on the ramp, I'm just going to face the ramp so that they get knocked further down. And then we can level that wall up while we're here. Then for these, I'm going to avoid placing one on that one, and I really don't think it's that important to place it in the corner here. We will just make it up there. From here. We want traps up here, but I'm just going to place wall spikes on that one. You can place a ceiling there as well with damage. But up here, as I said, we will do ceiling electric fields. And then the tire traps down here, it's less important, as I say, because I don't think much is going to be down here. So I'm going to avoid placing in that corner. It's more just for stopping flingers and the such. Up here, we can get some wall darts. So if I go to wall traps, I've gone to both of the other ones first. Well done. We just place these like that. Wow, that was expertly done. Then on these ceilings, we can do... we'll do drop traps on those ones. But on these, we will do zappy boys. And then for these, we'll do drop traps. Facing away from, well, facing the amplifier, sorry, so that they knock them away from the amplifier when they go off. And then that should be everything you need. As I say, this area here, you may need to expand the ceiling if you are seeing flinger issues. But for the rest of it, we're golden. Absolutely beautiful stuff. You can add damage here if you want. It really isn't necessary, though, because the enemies should be flying straight out. And then... yeah, everything up here is sorted. You can put wall darts there. Probably don't need anything there, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. There's your build. Lovely jubbly. Sound as a pound. So my head got jumbled back and forward with this. Couldn't decide if this actually had a spawn or not. But yeah, it does have a joint spawn with Amplifier A. So obviously when we built for Amplifier A, we already had all of this stuff placed down, which honestly does most of the job for you. But yeah, what we're going to do for this build is we've got all this stuff blocked off from the rest of our Amplify B build. And what is beautiful about this is the enemies over there. We will need to adjust this slightly and we can add some more traps, but the enemies will just come and go through the regular trap tunnel that we've got set up for the east direction. So the enemies will not try go up this ramp at all. That's because we've got so much blocking it off. Now, if you want, you can add more spikes, whatever, to it, you know, if should you please, but you definitely don't need it. We already have some spikes there anyway. But yeah, the enemies will just come up here and they'll get knocked by this, knocked back by this down there. And then even if they did get through, you know, we've got so much here to deal with them. But yeah, as I say, there's a few things you can do. So if I get rid of this, I mean, you can keep it if you want, but just in case enemies do spawn around this area, they'd probably break this to get up anyway. So I'm just going to open that. Then we can get rid of this block off. What you might want to do is for this block off here, you might just want to add a little bit extra at the top, just like this, just to ensure that they don't try come up here, because they'd have a nice flinger shot to the amplifier up here. So flingers and lobbers might want to come up here. So what you can do is just, as we've done before in the past, just get these aimed towards that corner and then add your walls in a grid method like in the past. As I said, this is kind of optional. You shouldn't really need it, but we're just going to add it anyway. Now, as I say, the enemies are going to come over this way, so what we can do is just extend this ceiling. I'd avoid placing it here, as this corner will connect to here, and enemies might see that. They will actually be able to walk across this. It's a bit easier for them when it's lower down, but they can glitch onto it. So I would avoid doing that, and you can bring it across here, like that. And then, again, same with that corner. I'd avoid, bring it to here. And then once we've got to this point, we are now joining onto the trap tunnels for here. I'm just going to make a connection here. Not really necessary. I'm just doing it because I don't want this stuff all to break down. But as I say, it's connected in multiple places, so you shouldn't need it. Now, what you can do for this area is you can place some ceiling electric fields here to zap down, although I think it is too high up. So we can do tire drop traps instead, or we can continue the ceiling across at this level. I'm going to continue at this level and then just get rid of these two, which didn't have traps on anyway, so don't worry about that. So we can just go underneath here and place ceiling electric fields on these ones. These will zap to any enemies that do try break through here, but like I said, I did test this, and the enemies just went straight up the regular tunnel, which is just perfect, really, isn't it? So, I can't complain. So, now for the ceiling, we're going to place tire drop traps. So, place these all while facing the amplifier, which will knock them back towards spawn. So, if we do this, like that, and then obviously we already have them over here. Now, it is annoying that we can't place ceilings here because the enemies can hop into them. What you can do is place them, even if you place them at that height. I mean, if you really want ceilings here, you can place them one higher, because obviously tire drop traps do go 3 blocks. So what you can do, I say blocks as if it's Minecraft, I've done that in the past. Don't hate me. You can do it up here, and obviously then enemies cannot walk on top of these. It's overkill anyway. I mean, we're in Plankerton. You really don't need these, but just in case you do want to place them, I'll place them to show you. But yeah, you just want to face the amplifier B over there, as you're placing them, and this will cover the entire area now. Now the spawn is way back here by the actual amplifier that you could place here. So you can add trap tunnels here if you wish. You shouldn't really need it, just because this does most of the heavy lifting. What you can do down here, if you want, is do this, and then this. This is pretty optional because most enemies won't come down here; they will come up this top route. So you don't need it, but I like building trap tunnels. I'll be honest. So yeah, I realize I'm placing the traps as I go through here, which is a bit unorthodox. So I guess. Yeah, I guess this video is a bit different. I'll continue doing the build, and then I'll place the rest of the traps down to avoid this being very weird. But yeah, as these enemies come up this ramp, we can then do this sort of thing, and this will join on to the enemies that come from here. Then we can do this, force the enemies to come through this area. We can block this off to stop them from being able to get, even get into this area, which is nice. You can add a launcher on this to launch them over here, but obviously I'll do that when I get to the traps. And then we're just going to bring them over here. Now, you don't really need floor traps here, but what I'm going to do is do that, and then we can put a launcher there. You can even do one there. It's not really that necessary, though. I will just leave it open. And then you can place traps in all this area, but I don't think I even saw any enemies make it here, because our traps and our build is just so powerful. One thing I think I might change here, though, just while we're here, is place this as a sound trap, just to make sure the exploders are fully dealt with. But yeah, going back to the actual direction we're building for here for the south, this should be plenty. We've got the ceilings all placed. As I say, you can add extra stuff around here if you want, but I really don't think it's necessary. The only thing you might want to do is we can place a wall here to put a sound trap on. You could do the same thing down here, because I was going to do a wall launcher here, so we'll do a sound trap there. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to do. So ordinarily at this point I would level all this stuff up and show you the traps. So I will see you once I have done that. Alright, once you've got that stuff leveled up, I did just remove the 2 floors here because, I mean, they're not really going to do anything. And added a small thin wall here just to extend their path. We can start here as well. So we're going to put a full impact one here because not many enemies are going to make it this far. It's mainly going to be for like mini bosses, smashes, that type of thing. And then we want tar pit trap on the floor. Tar pit trap, tar pit trap. And then on this one we can do wooden floor spikes just to deal a bit of damage as they come through. As we go down here, we will do tar pit traps. Again, this bit's optional. You really don't need it. If you were going to place any traps in this area, or you could keep the block off as we had it before, it's up to you. But I'd just go for the traps that I put up here, to be honest. But yeah, for this area, we're going to do a sound trap on that wall to make sure exploders don't harm anything. And then we'll just do a full build for these ones. As they come up, we've already got the ceilings. At the back, we can do wall darts there. On the sides, we'll do broadsides, but again, it's pretty over the top at this point. We're going to put a sound trap here to deal with exploders. And then as they come through, we will do a launcher here. At this point, we will do broadsides to huge damage. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. As I said, the heavy lifting was done by our Amplifier A build, really, because this entire lower area and this entire area up here, pretty much apart from this stuff, was already covered. And then our east build does the rest of the trap tunnels up here as well for us. So, you know, everything's already taken care of. So, yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for checking in. I appreciate it. I'd love the feedback, you know, a like, subscribe, all that stuff if you wouldn't mind. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.